Hi guys, welcome back on Sports Khabri, Curious Harry and Arun Foot. शायन सरकार is not available. कहाँ है वो हमें नहीं पता. जब पता चलेगा तो हम भी आपको बता देंगे. But Hiren is back after a long break. So am I after a long break. Arunava will be joining us shortly. First things first, Hiren कैसे हैं आप?
मैं एकदम बढ़िया हूँ एंड हेलो टू एवरीवन. आई थिंक आफ्टर आई थिंक 1 week लॉन्ग ब्रेक फाइनली एंड इट्स ग्रेट टू बी बैक एंड आई थिंक जिस तरह से आगाज भी हुआ है फिर से आईएसएल का धमाकेदार तरीके से मैचेस हो रहे हैं लगातार में. जो पिछले 2 मैचेस है वहाँ पे गोल फेस्ट देखने को मिला. आज थोड़ा सा मतलब लो स्कोरिंग मतलब 1-0 से उड़ीसा से यहाँ पे जीत चुकी है. सो लो स्कोरिंग रहा. अनुराग कौशिक भाई, हेलो हेलो भाई.
Yeah. Hi Om, hi Anurag, thank you for joining us. Um, जैसा कि हिरे ने कहा लो स्कोरिंग मैच काफी और चीजें भी हो रही हैं इंडियन फुटबॉल पर्सपेक्टिव से. आईडब्ल्यूएल शुरू होने वाला है दिसंबर से. कुछ थोड़ी नेगेटिव बातें भी हो रही हैं जो आगे आ रही हैं, तो वी विल आल्सो बी टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस. बट ओडिशा के मैच के पहले मेरे को आपसे हिरेन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन पूछना है कि टेबल को अगर मैं देखूं तो इसमें एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टीम है मोहन बगान, जिसने अभी तक सिर्फ 4 मैचेस खेले हैं. 5वां मैच कल
हम्म.
खेलेगी. तो अगर मैं
हम्म.
टेबल को देखूं तो उस वे में आई एम नॉट एबल टू जज फेयरली कि कौन सी टीम एक्चुअली कहाँ स्टैंड कर रही है और कहाँ नहीं कर रही है. क्या आपको लगता है कि आप मतलब व्हेन यू लुक एट द टेबल आपको लगता है कि जो पोजीशनिंग ऑफ टीम्स है वो बिल्कुल सही है इस समय?
आई थिंक डेफिनेटली आपकी बात सही है कि काफी मतलब जो भी एएफसी कंपटीशन में खेल रही है उनके मैचेस कम है. जैसे आपने बोला मोहन बगान के काफी कम अभी तक मैचेस खेले हैं. एंड अगर आप अभी के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखें तो आई थिंक मोहन बगान ड्यू टू द इंजरीज स्ट्रगल भी कर रही है. ऐसा नहीं है कि रेड आउट फॉर्म में है. सो उस टर्म्स में आई थिंक टेबल है जो अभी आई थिंक मेरे हिसाब से तो सही है. एंड आई थिंक यही चीज आईएसएल को इंटरेस्टिंग भी बनाती है कि यहाँ पे अनप्रेडिक्टेबिलिटी ज्यादा है. मतलब हम सीजन जब स्टार्ट हुआ तब सबने बोला था कि मोहन बगान मुंबई सिटी आर दी फेवरेट, लेकिन जिस तरह से केरला ब्लास्टर अभी खेल रही है फुटबॉल, एफसी गोवा ने जिस तरह से खेला है, तो आई थिंक ओडिशा एफसी ने जिस तरह से अपनी क्या बोलते कि एक एक वापसी की है एफसी कंपटीशन में भी और आईएसएल में भी. आज आज क्रुशियल विन उनका रहा 1-0. सो आई थिंक इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाली है. एंड मोहन बगान के लिए भी जो ये नेक्स्ट ये जो दिसंबर वाला मंथ है काफी क्रुशियल रहने वाला है क्योंकि इसमें काफी सारे वो आईएसएल के मैचेस खेलेंगे. और आई थिंक जब एशियन कप का ब्रेक आएगा उससे पहले आई थिंक सभी टीम्स के इक्वली मैचेस हो जाएंगे और उसके बाद ज्यादा हमें बेटर तरीके से जज कर पाएंगे कि भाई कौन सी टीम आगे चल रही है या फिर कौन सी टीम फेवरेट लग रही है अभी तक.
जी. सो अगर मैं टेबल को देखूँ तो मोहन बगान ने 4 मैचेस खेले हैं, मुंबई सिटी ने 5 और ईस्ट बंगाल ने 6 मैचेस खेले हैं. ये 3 टीम्स हैं.
हम्म.
सॉरी एफसी गोवा ने भी 6 मैचेस खेले हैं. तो ये 4 टीम्स हैं जिन्होंने कम मैचेस खेले हैं, बाकी सारी टीम्स ने 7 या 8 मैचेस खेले हैं.
हम्म.
जी. अम, येस, सो कमिंग टू टुडेज़ मैच ओडिशा एफसी एंड जमशेदपुर एफसी. व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स ऑन हाउ द बोथ द टीम्स आर प्रोग्रेसिंग इन द आईएसएल?
आई थिंक जमशेदपुर एफसी थ्रू आउट दी सीजन मेरे मेरे मतलब नो डाउट जब सीजन स्टार्ट हुआ तब सभी ने बोला था कि दे विल फिनिश इन बॉटम. लेकिन जिस तरह की उन्होंने परफॉर्मेंस दी है आई थिंक उससे मैं इम्प्रेस हूँ. नो डाउट वो रिजल्ट ग्राइंड नहीं कर पाए. आज का मैच भी आप देख लीजिए 18 आई थिंक 18-19 शॉट्स उन्होंने लिए मोर देन क्या बोलते कि ओडिशा एफसी. लास्ट मैच भी उन्होंने जो आ रहा था एफसी गोवा से वो भी 1-0 से ही आ रहा था. एंड वहां पे भी उन्होंने डोमिनेट किया था एफसी गोवा को पोजीशन वाइज. यहाँ पे एफसी गोवा को अपने घर में डोमिनेट करना यहाँ पे अवे में दैट्स नॉट अ इजी थिंग. एंड वो यहाँ पे जमशेदपुर ने खेल के करके दिखाया था. तो स्कॉट कूपर की अगर आप टेक्टिकली देखें तो ही हैज बीन ऑन पॉइंट, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं वो एक जो थोड़ा सा लक फैक्टर चाहिए आपको 3 पॉइंट लेने के लिए आई थिंक वो मेरे को लगता है कि जमशेदपुर के साथ नहीं हो रहा है. अदरवाइज आप अब देखिए उनका मुंबई सिटी के सामने उन्होंने अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दिया था. जितनी भी टॉप टीमें हैं मोहन बगान के सामने भी अच्छा खेले थे वो. सो अब देखिए जितने भी अच्छी टीमें अभी कर रही है आईएसएल में उन सबके सामने जमशेदपुर ने मतलब अपनी जो परफॉर्मेंस है वो एक एक उनसे उसके लेवल की या फिर उनसे भी कभी कभी बेटर दी है. लेकिन स्टिल दे डोंट फाइंड देयर दोस 3 पॉइंट्स. तो उस सेंस में मैं मानूंगा कि जमशेदपुर थोड़ा सा अनलकी रही है. एंड 2-3 आई थिंक जो यंगस्टर उनको मिले हैं यहाँ पे निखिल बालरा हो गए यहाँ पे आपके एंड वो सब आई थिंक वो काफी ज्यादा प्रॉमिसिंग लग रहे हैं. लेकिन आप बिना मतलब हम सबको पता है कि ये लीग में अगर आपको आगे बढ़ना है देन यू नीड ए 3 पॉइंट्स कैसे भी करके. गेम प्ले डजंट मैटर कि आप अच्छा खेलो बुरा खेलो वो मतलब मैटर नहीं करेगा. आप लगातार कंसिस्टेंट बेसिस पे अगर रिजल्ट ग्राइंड कर रहे हो दैट विल हेल्प इन द लॉन्गर रन. एंड ओडिशा एफसी आई थिंक मैंने पहले भी जैसे बोला कि आई थिंक जिस तरह से उन्होंने सर्जियो लोबेरा ने आई थिंक अब रिदम पकड़ ली है उनकी उसकी टीम ने। हमने एएफसी में भी जब पहले 2 मैचेस खेला तो हमने हमको लगा कि भई उनका सारा फोकस आईएसएल पे ही है, उनको एएफसी में कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता। लेकिन एएफसी में भी जिस तरह से मोहन बगान को हराया, वहाँ पे भी उनके चांसेस है क्वालीफाई करने के। एंड आईएसएल में भी धीरे-धीरे वो यहाँ पे स्टेप बाय स्टेप यहाँ पे पोज़ीशन बाय पोज़ीशन ऊपर जा रहे हैं। सो आई थिंक सर्जियो लोबेरा जिस ब्रांड ऑफ फुटबॉल के लिए जाने जाते हैं, आई थिंक वो यहाँ पे अब ओडिशा एफसी खेलती हुई दिख रही है।
जी। 7 matches, 13 points, Odisha FC. Jamshedpur, on the other hand, 8 matches and 5 points. तो ओडिशा एफसी आपने जैसे कहा कि पॉइंट्स टेबल पे भी वो धीरे-धीरे स्टेडली ऊपर जा रहे हैं। जमशेदपुर एफसी आपको लगता है कि कितना और अगर मैं टेबल का के बारे में बात करूँ, कितना आपको लगता है कि थोड़ा जंप अहेड कर पाएँगे?
आई थिंक मैं उनको टॉप 6 में तो टू बी ऑनेस्ट नहीं देख रहा हूँ अभी, जमशेदपुर एफसी को। लेकिन आई थिंक डेफिनिटली वो मतलब जिस तरह से अभी तक फुटबॉल खेल रहे हैं, आई थिंक डेफिनिटली वो बड़ी टीमों को भी हरा सकते हैं अपकमिंग मतलब सेकंड फेज ऑफ दी सीजन में। एंड वो काफी ज्यादा दूसरी टीमों के लिए क्या बोलते कि जो उनकी टॉप 6 की क्या बोलते कि टीम होगी उसको रोक सकते हैं। तो आई एम सीइंग जमशेदपुर एफसी फिनिशिंग बिटवीन 8 to 10 पोजीशन टू बी ऑनेस्ट।
या गाइस ऑल ऑफ यू हू आर वाचिंग अस प्लीज हमें बताइए कि आपको आज का मैच अगर आपने आज देखा तो आपको क्या था मैच का व्यूज आपको क्या लग रहा था मैच के बारे में एक क्वेश्चन नाइट ने पूछा है मैं बिफोर अरुणवा जॉइंस अस तो मैं ये सारे क्वेश्चंस लेते लेना चाहती हूँ इज इट ट्रू कि नेक्स्ट सीजन से फी कैप हट रहा है apparently it's there on
ये
Twitter
देखिए हाँ ट्विटर पे आया है। एंड यहाँ पे कोई भी मतलब सैलरी लिमिट नहीं, ओ सॉरी, ये जो फी का जो 16.5 करोड़ का है कि आपका जो सारे प्लेयरों की सैलरीज हो तो 16.5 करोड़ ही होनी चाहिए, उसको सैलरी कैप को ये लोग हटा रहे हैं। मेरे हिसाब से तो ये राइट डिसीजन नहीं है, क्योंकि आप देखिए कि ऑलरेडी हमने देखा है कि आईएसएल जो क्लब्स है वो स्काउटिंग के ऊपर उतना ज्यादा फोकस नहीं करते। एंड हमको पता ही है कि हमारा जो आईएसएल का या फिर इंडियन फुटबॉल मार्केट वो इन्फ्लेटेड है, चाहे वो इंडियन प्लेयर्स की बात करें चाहे फॉरेन प्लेयर्स की बात करें। सो आई डोंट मतलब एग्री विद दिस डिसीजन कि आप कितना भी पैसा खर्च कर लो। आई थिंक वो एक होना चाहिए। अगर आप सैलरी कैप होगा तो आई थिंक क्लब्स आर क्या बोलते हैं कि मोर फोकस ऑन दी देयर यूथ लेवल डेवलपमेंट कि भाई हाँ भाई हमारे यहाँ से प्लेयर प्रोड्यूस होगा तो हमें जो एक बेहतर प्लेयर इंडियन प्लेयर प्रोड्यूस कर पाएंगे। अब सैलरी कैप नहीं है तो उनको पता है कि मार्केट से भाई कोई भी कितने भी प्लेयर उठा देंगे पैसा देके। सो आई थिंक मैं तो इस डिसीजन से एग्री नहीं करता टू बी
Hmm. And considering अभी भी आईएसएल इज नॉट अ प्रॉफिट मेकिंग प्रॉपर्टी 10th
ऑनेस्ट।
एडिशन
एग्जैक्टली।
है आईएसएल इज नॉट अ प्रॉफिट मेकिंग प्रॉपर्टी देयर इज नो स्पॉन्सर ऑन बोर्ड सो हमें वो भी कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा कि एज अ बिजनेस एंटिटी कितना प्रॉफिटेबल आईएसएल है कितने प्रॉफिटेबल क्लब्स हैं क्योंकि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे क्लब्स भी आईएसएल का ही पार्ट है राइट मतलब अगर वो एम करना चाहें तो वो भी आईएसएल का ही पार्ट है अम, तो उस पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर हम देखना चाहें तो एक सैलरी कैप जहाँ पे ऑलरेडी हमारे जो काफ़ी प्लेयर्स हैं जो ओवरपेड हैं, जो कि काफ़ी लोग बात करते हैं, बाकी लीग्स इन अदर कंट्रीज़ ऑल्सो। I don't understand how will that really help Indian football in the long run. There are other things that can maybe play a much better role for that matter.
एग्जैक्टली एग्जैक्टली आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है कि भाई इतना हाई सैलरी कैप मतलब इतनी सैलरीज हमको पता है कि इंडियन प्लेयर्स की काफी सारे लोग उसमें रीजन देते हैं कि भाई यहाँ पे लोग और भी ज्यादा जुड़ेंगे। आई डोंट थिंक सो कि मतलब जितना पैसा मिल रहा है उससे अगर कम भी मिलेगा फिर भी लोग क्या बोलते कि ड्रीम कर सकते कि दे वांट टू प्ले फुटबॉल। ऐसा नहीं है
हुँ,
कि इतना पैसे पे वो एक एक नो डाउट मिनिमम एक आपका होता है लेकिन मैक्सिमम तो कुछ नहीं होता। तो उस सेंस में आई थिंक मैंने जैसे बोला मैं तो ये डिसीजन से एग्री नहीं करता कि आपने बिल्कुल सैलरी कैप हटा दी। आई थिंक एक वो नंबर रखना चाहिए था कि जहाँ पे आपके क्लब्स एक सोचने पे मजबूर हो कि हाँ भाई हमारी एक प्रॉपर, क्योंकि हमने अभी रिसेंटली न्यूज आई थी कि भाई रोबिन्यो के बारे में जो कि वसुंधरा किंग्स के प्लेयर हैं। तो आप देखिए कि वसुंधरा किंग्स भी अगर आप देखें तो स्मार्ट साइनिंग उन्होंने सारी की है, जितने भी फॉरेन साइनिंग की है हमने काफी बार आईएसएल क्लब्स के साथ देखा है कि यहाँ पे लास्ट मोमेंट पे बिना स्काउटिंग के प्लेयर उठा के लाते हैं। एंड उतना सक्सेसफुल नहीं हो पाते। तो वो नहीं होना चाहिए। आई थिंक प्रॉपर स्काउटिंग टीम और वो सारी चीजें होंगी तो आई थिंक बेटर प्लेयर हमें आईएसएल में ज्यादा दिखेंगे रादर देन कि भाई सिर्फ पैसों के नाम पे बड़े ना हो।
Hmm, true. Anurag has made a comment on the match tonight. That was amazing.
अनुराग कौशिक के कमेंट में एक मैं बताना चाहूंगा, जाहू का ये देखिए इस सीजन में रहा है कि कुछ मैचेस में उन्होंने एक्सेप्शनल परफॉर्मेंस दी है और कुछ मैचेस लगा है कि भाई इज वेरी वेरी पुअर एंड थोड़ा सा वो स्लो हुआ है कंपेरेटिव टू अगर लास्ट सीजन। तो आई थिंक उसकी जो मूवमेंट्स है, उसकी जो डिसीजन मेकिंग है, आई थिंक उसमें वो थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगता है कि स्प्लिट ऑफ सेकंड का वो थोड़ा सा डिले आया है, जिसके चलते काफी बार उन्होंने बॉल भी लूज किए और उसका खामियाजा ओडिशा एफसी को भुगतना भी पड़ा है। काफी बार ओडिशा एफसी ने वहां से गोल भी कंसीड किया है। सो दैट्स द थिंग, वो एक हमें देखने को मिला है जरूर।
Yeah. Anu has joined us. Hi, Anu. How have you been?
Good, good. Freezing cold out here.
Nice. I hope you're looking after yourself and just keeping yourself warm.
Trying to.
What did you watch the match, Anu?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Your views on how both the teams played.
I think Odisha is riding on that wave at the moment of success. After that 5-2 earlier this week, and Roy Krishna seems to have found form at the right time in regard to scoring very, very important goals for them. And I think you see the experience that the squad simply has. On the other side, Jamshedpur, if you look at the way they've played, exactly, the comment that you just posted, I feel. I don't know why they're not. It's not clicking. Scott Cooper is very likable as a coach. He's doing the right thing. He's saying the right things. Manzoro, as a foreigner, is good. Yeah. But again, on the other side, you have to have luck as well to some extent. I think on that front, I think Odisha is riding that at the moment. Jamshedpur sadly is not.
Yeah. Looking at the table, I was also discussing this with Hiren Harana that abhi bhi there are teams that have not played as many matches as other teams have. Mohan Bagan have just played 4 matches. They'll be playing the 5th match tomorrow. How do you see the table turning up in the next couple of weeks?
I think we still need to wait for the Asian competitions to get over, for Mohun Bagan, for Mumbai City, and for Odisha as well, get that thing out of the way. And then you'll see towards the end of the year that the table gets a little bit more realistic. I think we know that there are five teams, I would say, who are sort of looking that they will most probably get into the playoffs at the moment. There's a lot of teams where you don't know where they really stand. If we look at the match of BFC yesterday, first half Punjab was all over them. Second half BFC were really, really good. Discussed it with Rahul as well. This whole thing around Simon Grayson. It's quite a difficult situation. East Bengal, a lot of discussion going on. Charles Kodrat and the team. Is it good enough? Is it not good enough? Chennai was very, very good in that first half against the Kerala Blasters the other night, and deserved more. We're a little unlucky that Jordan Murray goal, which was not given. So the league is very, very close, but it seems to be that we have a few teams again: Goa, Blasters, Mohun Bagan, Odisha, and Mumbai City, who look sort of better, and the rest sort of is catching up. And even again, if Punjab FC can challenge a BFC, they seem to have arrived in the league, I feel.
Yeah. Another thing that we've already discussed with Hiren, Anuva, is the salary cap removal. Apparently, there are talks happening around this. What are your views? Do you think the salary cap should be removed?
It's not been there for a while. Otherwise, I can't. It's just being formulated officially. So it's on one side it's a good thing. On another side is it's sort of it restricts the league. So out of own experience from the first season, it's something. It helps on one side to try to even out things, but the other side of the story is you're trying to bring in quality players, especially foreigners, and then a Jason Cummings will not be coming for the money that you could offer him officially if you're looking at the salary caps. I mean, theoretically, Jason Cummings is earning so much, and he and Amanda Sadiko and then Mohun Bagan don't have any money left in the salary cap, so they might have to play with 2 players. It just doesn't add up, right? But again, you see other teams, Northeast United, doing very, very smart, very, very clever buys in the summer, strengthening their team. On the other side, you see a team like East Bengal. They're saying, "Oh, listen, the team is not good enough," but you've spent quite a bit of money. BFC spent quite a bit of money. So therefore, you've got two sides of the coins. But the point is what makes sense for club football. You're trying to even it out. I think that makes sense. But then you have to have sort of your exceptions. You had it in the start where we signed marquee players like, Freddie Ljungberg was not part of it. On the other side, Nicholas Anelka was not part of the salary cap, while other players were. And yeah, it has its advantages, has its disadvantages. But this league has grown to a certain extent. The problem is with an Indian league, let's compare it to the MLS. MLS is it's very funny that American sports leagues are very socialistic in their approach, right? They try and even out. Even the NBA, NFL, you try to even it out, which they do via the draft, your first pick, this, that, everything. And European leagues are very capitalistic in that way. And I think we are moving that way. So in that sense, I would say that, yeah, the salary cap and its use is no longer there. It's maybe the original thought was there when it was started in 2014.
Yeah. Lots of comments coming on this particular topic.
On this, Lord Beke, I think that there is a point that I would say is they have spent a lot of money, but spending a lot of money, does it mean that you have created a top team? Right? So big spenders, does not always mean that you will be successful. Again, I take Northeast example at the moment is Northeast has one of the smallest budgets in the league, right? And they potentially could fight for a top 6 spot. So it depends on how you spend your money. There are teams, again, the legacy clubs will have to spend more because there's an expectation. Even if the players come, they will demand more. But you can get away with the Northeast. Punjab has a relatively cheap team this season, what I know from the people at Round Glass. So therefore, it depends on the clubs. You see, Kerala Blasters has reduced their wage bill to a certain extent, right? By releasing certain players, giving their younger players a chance. So therefore, there are different strategies. Odisha, Goa, spending much more money than they have in the last few years. So again, different strategies, different approaches. Not everyone will be right, because at the end of the day, sports is such a thing that often we will think one team is successful because they win the league. The rest are failures, right? So that's the difficulty we have in sports.
Yeah. Before we go to the other controversial topic that we wanted to discuss tonight, quick question from Anurag. Joa was excellent today with the distribution, taking charge of the ball dropping between series and the commanding the midfield.
One of the best midfielders, I think, Ahmed Jahu with Edu Badia until the summer, I would have said would have been two of the best midfielders we've had. And we're already seeing at Gokulam Kerala what kind of an influence Edu Badia can have on a midfield, even in the I-League. So these are the kind of exceptional talents. Bema Meir, for example, at Northeast, also Moroccan origin, or Moroccan player. Not exactly similar to Ahmed Jahu, but you see that style. And again, sometimes a little bit of arrogance as well. But that class you see with Apuya now, he's learned a lot of things from Ahmed Jahu. Ahmed Jahu is one of the best players we've had in the ISL or in Indian club football as a foreigner.
Yeah. So I have honestly, very, very honestly, I've been away from Indian football for the last 5-6 days. I think Hiren has also been away, and Hiren was away for a wedding. Clearly, he's very tired. He's spreading his yawning all over.
मस्ती किया अक्षता, वो तो मस्ती किया ना, हम लोग काम कर रहे थे, वो आप भी मस्ती कर रहे थे. Rahul and I were keeping this going, right?
I was working, but I was away on a trip. So
your Instagram says something else. Please follow Akshata's Instagram. You will see that Akshata was hanging out in Ahmedabad and enjoying the beauties of Ahmedabad city. Yeah. So नहीं काम करने के लिए नहीं गए, madam.
While working. I mean, I wish I could take that break from work, but I couldn't. I really wish I could. But beautiful city, Ahmedabad. But I came back and I was like, what has happened in Indian football that we are talking about match fixing all of a sudden? क्या हो क्या गया एकदम से? So because I don't know what is happening and I don't want to make any assumptions, I just want to go to both of you and ask you, क्या हुआ है? What has happened in the last 5-6 years that now we are talking about things not being fair? Hiren, would you like to go
आई
first?
थिंक नहीं, आई लीग के रिगार्डिंग यहाँ पे जो कल है हमारे प्रेसिडेंट कल्याण चौबे, उन्होंने भी ट्विटर पे स्टेटमेंट दिया है कि देयर विल बी मतलब इन्वेस्टिगेशन एंड कोई भी ऐसी चीज जो कि यहाँ पे लीग को या फिर उसको जेपड़ी में डालती है, उसके रिगार्डिंग स्ट्रॉन्ग एक्शन लिए जाएंगे। ये इससे पहले भी ऐसा नहीं कि ये पहली बार हो रहा है। आई थिंक लास्ट सीजन भी काफी बार ये कंप्लेंट उठी थी एंड ये ऐसा नहीं कि आई लीग में ही हो रहा है, उससे लोअर डिवीजन जो है स्टेट लीग या फिर जो दूसरे लीग है उसमें भी हो रहा है। सो दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी सीरियस इश्यू एंड दिस नीड्स टू बी एड्रेस। एक चीज जो यहाँ पे कल रिपोर्ट में भी आ रही थी कि अभी एएफएफ के पास ऐसा कोई मैकेनिज्म नहीं है कि जहाँ पे वो मतलब क्या बोलते हैं कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन एंड पनिशमेंट दोनों चीजें कर पाए। तो आई थिंक उस डायरेक्शन में भी अभी एएफएफ को सोचना चाहिए। आई थिंक सारा जो एक आपको सिस्टम चाहिए टू ट्रैक दिस एंड टू स्टॉप दिस क्या बोलते हैं कि मैच फिक्सिंग, उसके लिए एंड उस डायरेक्शन में भी अब सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि इससे आपकी जो गेम की इंटेग्रिटी है आई थिंक वो क्वेश्चन होती है एंड दैट विल बी really really you can say कि bad hit or you can say कि create a bad image for the Indian football एंड तो उसके चलते आई थिंक लेट्स सी कि किस तरह से एएफएफ इसको कितना सीरियसली लेता है और क्या क्या एक्शन लेता है, और जो भी लोग रिस्पॉन्सिबल है उनके ऊपर क्या वो एक्शन ले पाते हैं, दैट विल बी रियली रियली क्रूशियल। आई थिंक वो डिसाइड करेगा कि हम किस डायरेक्शन में आगे बढ़ रहे हैं एंड लेट्स सी कि और भी कौन कौन से लोग हैं कि जो मतलब जिनको कुछ पता है वो क्या सामने आके उसके बारे में और भी ज्यादा डिटेल देते हैं कि नहीं। दैट विल बी रियली रियली इंटरेस्टिंग टू सी।
Yeah. Arnava, it would be great if you can just paint a picture क्या exactly हुआ है, if because also we are of course talking about the AIFF, but there's also governing organization above AIFF, which is FIFA. क्या वो भी कुछ देख रहे हैं कि what is happening? Are there other organizations? जैसे हिरेन ने कहा, in cricket we do have sports radar that monitors certain things. Do we have, or do you think there is a provision or there is a budget set aside that can be used to bring another third party to make sure that things are more fair and square?
Well, there are 2-3 points to mention over here. First of all, the AFF had in the past an integrity officer who used to look into these matters. So I remember when the ISL was started, the authorities, especially the ones from Reliance, who of course have experience via Mumbai Indians of how things are done in the IPL, brought in a lot of measures from the IPL into the ISL, plus the integrity measures which were there in the AFF, which are FIFA and AFF, FIFA and AFC, sorry, implement in global football. So I remember we had a special workshop with that gentleman from the AFF. There was an international gentleman who came in. For example, there was a rule, I don't know if it still exists today, that when a team arrived at a venue, and you would always see that as well in the broadcast, that all of us who would go into the dressing room. So I also had an access to the dressing room, even though I was CEO, so I had to run around the stadium, interact with people. But all of us, our mobile phones are put into this bag. The security head, he would keep it and he would give us our phones back after the game. So there were these kind of measures. There were measures taken also in regard to, we were told certain security measures, I'll not divulge them, but there were security measures in and around the hotel, in and around the players. And I spoke to someone, I spoke a couple of people today at I-League clubs and asked them, you know, what is the issues? What are the measures you're taking? Saying the point is, some of the teams are staying in hotels. So if you're staying with the team in hotels, it is relatively easy to track what is happening or not because the hotel has CCTV footage. Other teams are staying in rented apartments or in apartment blocks, or people are staying in their own homes where you are unable to track the players. So that can be an issue. So the point here is what do you do? How do you do it? The point here is also that how and where do you approach the players? Who approaches the players? Because this goes in that if someone's trying to fix a match, he'll try to reach out to the players. He'll try to, again, fix the result, fix a foul, fix this, fix that, whatever. There are multiple ways of doing it. And that's how it's been done internationally, sadly. And the point here is, and the problem here is, of course, is, are there patterns in matches which look awkward? So the difficulty in with match fixing is is if and we've had some crazy results in the I League in the last few days, that some of these matches will look for integrity people, that they will look into this, and they have to look into this. The problem is not, I would say, in the I League. I take ISL out because I think the players are very well paid, so it doesn't make sense for them to get involved in all of this. But when you go down the lower the ladder, Shaggy talks about match fixing investigation in Bangalore District Football Association leagues in the BDFA. It's might be super division, but it might be A division or B division, and that is the question. It goes down the divisions. There have been allegations in Kolkata as well. I remember once there was this match which was in Goa, 65-1, I think was the result, and another one 56 something. I don't even remember. I think India was playing that day. Some weird results were there. So it's happened in Goa as well. The problem is, I was hearing the other day someone telling me, I was in a lower division club in Kolkata, he's paying 500 rupees to a player. Right? Amateur player, 500 rupees. Now, if you offer him figure X, would you be able to tempt that player? If that player is from a humble background, from a poorer background, that risk is always there. So the question is, who is tracking? How are they tracking? Is there a mechanism in there? In the I League, there is a mechanism in there. Therefore, this has been observed, and compliments to the AFF president for coming forward that there is an investigation going to be made into these allegations to look if something has happened or not. Right? So those are the crazy ones. So therefore, it's important that these things happen. If there are allegations, they need to be proven, be it in court or be it in with the integrity situations. There are global monitoring options now with a lot of leagues where you have streaming. Again, that video footage is available, so that is evidence of its own kind. And therefore, there are different ways, because again, there were allegations the other day from I think Mohammedan Sporting regard to the refereeing, because two of the players received a red card. One was banned for 4 matches, another one was banned for 8 matches. How you want to discuss it, because there's no video evidence? So therefore, there are different reasons. That's the reality.
I know. Also, one question that comes to mind is that that these are things that we've not heard for the first time, right? Like pehle bhi, a lot of times we have heard about things. For instance, from Delhi, I'm from Delhi. I've heard about things that have happened wrong in the Delhi State FA, refereeing issues. Match timings not being recorded properly, that issues. There are a lot of basic issues that often do not take place the way they should be, right? So we already are aware of the fact that there are a lot of things that need to be corrected within the system, right? Now that the system is such, it's not that it's a very correct system. Now that the system is such, taking care of these things, like these allegations, will become a little more trickier, right? Because where to start from, who to put the blame on, it's not going to be that easy. So since you've been in the system, how do you think things are gonna, like, what will be the proper way to go about these things now?
I think the challenge for the AFF in this is, how does the AFF track it? And secondly, can you prove that there has been some sort of manipulation? I think that's the toughest task. Because I can say that there are matches, I will not mention matches, but there have been some matches, especially in the I League in the recent days, where you think about, looks dodgy. Does look dodgy, right? Because again, and therefore that's a difficult one. But do we then, where does it start and how does it continue? And that's the challenge. That's the huge challenge of the federation, and how does it move forward? Yeah, and it's for the AFF to decide on what is the best way of really uh, 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 of tracking this. Because again, if the I League 2, I League 3, that is easily trackable. What do we do with what is happening, not even in the top tiers of the local leagues? Knight is saying, of course, in UP League, we nahi hai. Yeah, again, that's another problem in certain parts of India, that certain states, certain cities do not even have leagues. But where there are leagues, what is happening at the lower level? Because there's an allegation in Calcutta from the former sports minister of West Bengal saying that, I have a team, my team, the other team scored, I don't know, 14 or 24 goals. I don't even know how many goals. Doesn't look realistic, but can you prove it? Is there evidence? And that's the challenge. Um, where how do you grow it? How do you organize it? And how do you structure it?
Yeah. Some questions around the other things that are happening, but can match fixing be just based individual refereeing decisions pretty difficult, right?
See, Roshan will most probably might remember the referee who tried to fix matches here in Germany, Robert Heutzer. So therefore, you've had those instances as well. But I would say, I would hope, you can't say it 100%, that hopefully the referees, and there's a mechanism um, to cross check, to able to track all of these things. And that's the difficult part of it, again. And therefore you have organizations, um, you have platforms like Sports Radar who track these. I know in India it's going to be difficult, but it's going to be interesting to see.
I know also there are various parties involved, right? So how do we, of course, like, we have spoken about the accountability factor, but if a player is accused of being involved or not being fair, to what extent can the club support the player, and to what extent the athlete will, of course, have to look after their own interest?
I think a very key element is that I think every team, every club needs to make players aware of these issues. That there could be people with bad intentions trying to approach you, trying to offer you something to throw a match or to get a card or this or that, whatever. Um, that's the most important thing. You have to educate the players. A lot of them who are 18, 19, 20, 21, for them, I think it's a challenge to understand of how you want to get out of this sort of system, the risk. If are you earning enough? Do you want to earn more? Do you have, I don't know, have you yourself have got debt or this or that? There's so many reasons why players get involved in these kind of things, sadly. How are the clubs taken care of? I know you spoke the other day about, psychologists being involved. I think they are a good way of tracking of, what a player is thinking, feeling. Could he be up to something wrong? So there are a lot of means and ways of trying to figure out.
Shayanda will be back, hopefully very soon. As I'd already mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, हमें पता नहीं है शायन का है. तो जब हमें पता चलेगा कि शायन का है, we'll let you
He's on
guys
the
know.
road. He's a little busy with some office work in the Northeast, so Shan might be missing for the next few days. But in our hearts, he's always there.
Yes. That's
And
true.
just to let people know, as you were seeing, Hiren was looking quite tired, or is very very tired. So that's why Hiren asked if he could drop off. So therefore, Hiren left us a little early today, but he'll hopefully be back tomorrow onwards in a proper way.
Yeah. And like last thing that, of course, a lot of people are also asking on Twitter, which is that these surrogate betting brands are also being blamed by certain people, because the moment people think of betting or anything around it, they think that that's what causes fixing in a match. So if you could throw some light on that.
So could you repeat the question fully?
Like the surrogate betting brands are also being
Yeah.
blamed in some way, right? So if you can throw some light on,
Well, Shushmit is asking the same questions, and I think that is a connection which makes no sense at all, because the betting brands were coming in offer legal betting, which means they are tracked. So if you try and do mischief on their platforms, it will be tracked. And again, most of them are subject to control by a sports radar or something of a similar company. So therefore, you can't, again, and if they find anything suspicious on their platforms, they report it to the authorities because there's a direct mechanism of that. So if you're thinking that these surrogate betting brands are coming in because of that, no, I think the surrogate betting brands are coming in because they want to, because again, it's a gray area, and they are getting away with it because it's a gray area, because officially betting is banned. But again, if you have these companies, and it's no different with some other platforms where you actually, it's if you're your fantasy games, uh, uh, you know um, that's something different, because it's one they call the game of chance, which is betting, and on the other side, it's um, you know
Game of skill.
this game of skill, in the sense of, if you're picking a team, fantasy sports, is it this, indirectly it is the same actually, right? And I don't agree with Shushmit's assumptions, because fixers don't use these betting platforms. They do it outside of these betting platforms. I think that's the main thing. They would not go to XYZ and say, listen, you know what, do this, do that, and I will bet on that, because that will automatically get reported. And again, and betting is done around the world, and betting is like other things which you make illegal, and again, whatever is illegal, we could talk about liquor, we could talk about now stuff like tobacco and other things. um what's the best way of dealing with it? I think it's always very difficult.
Yeah. Guys, we will be, of course, creating another detailed video on the entire match fixing issue and what has happened and what are the possible things that the AFF and the other governing authorities will be doing. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them either here in the comment section or on our individual Twitter handles, and we'll make sure that we take them while we are creating these videos. Anuma, before we wrap up the podcast, is there anything that you would want to maybe add on?
Two things. Shushmit saying, I think the last comment on I think the problem is not only there in Kolkata. I think it's there in lower leagues over there. I mean, even here in Germany, for the last 2-3 match days, clubs offer opponents who beat someone else and say, listen, I will buy you a crate of beer. Isn't that in a way of influencing a game? I've discussed it team internally a few times in the past as well, saying, listen, you're offering an opponent team to beat someone, and if they win, they're going to give them a crate of beer. Isn't that a bribe? In a way. So again, it's a lot of gray areas. So therefore, it's a problem. I think, again, in the lower tiers, it becomes an issue where the players are not professional and not paid professionally. They are susceptible to these things much easier. As I said, if you're offering someone 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees and say, listen, live of it, you can't. And if someone comes around and offers you a figure which is much bigger, that's the point. But again, Roshan, very valid point in saying, which it makes it so interesting. But the problem is, at amateur level, that's not your profession. It's a side hustle, theoretically, to play football or to play sports, right? So, but you are more sustainable. Sorry, not sustainable. You're susceptible to such things. That is the danger of all of this. So now, how do you get out of this situation and try to make it better? We are talking now about the I League. We're talking about the second highest league in the country. And it would be a huge damage to Indian football if these allegations are proved right. Now, it would be great if there's been red flags and saying, listen, this, 4-5 matches, the patterns don't look natural. In the end, if then they say, listen, it was red flag, but the thing is, it was all fine, it happened on the football field, that would be ideal. But we don't know. So therefore, hopefully the right people are investigating these things. And then if any player, if any official, match official, if any club official is wrong, They just need to be banned from football, as has happened in other parts of the world. Simple as that. There's no room for such things.
I don't know, just for a basic understanding, what's the difference between, in percentage form, if I ask you, what's the difference between the salary of a player, like an average salary of a player that plays in I League 2, I League 1, and then ISL?
It's quite substantial. I'm not going to throw out numbers in a public domain. I-League player earns decent money. I-League player already earns much less than an ISL player. I think the top Indian players are earning in crores nowadays, which is quite substantial. I-League players earn good money in lakhs, and then I-League 2, depending on teams, you're earning decent. Again, some of the northeastern teams, they earn money. What I jokingly would tell you that you would most probably not think, of waking up in the morning, right? So therefore, that's there, and that makes these players potentially susceptible to such things. But again, a lot of players have the ambition to become I-League players, ISL players. They will hopefully not even think of going down that route. That is the danger of all of this. So therefore, we need to have the right systems in place to counter such risks. And again, it's good that the FF president has spoken about it. I think it's an important thing, even if if red flags are there, check it, see, and if someone is wrong, punish him.
Yeah, like rightfully said, Arnav, that Mr. Kalyan Chaubey himself has said that they will be looking into these matters. So it kind of also helps Indian football fans have some more faith in the system. Um, Regardless of what happens in the coming few weeks, we can at least be hopeful that things might, work out for the betterment of Indian football. Thank you so much, Arnav, for speaking with us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for all of you who've turned up for the live. As I said earlier, we will be doing a proper podcast on the entire issue that has come up. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them either on Twitter or here in the comment section. We'll see you guys soon. So thank you so much and good night.
Good night.